night skies. Once that sun goes down, all your attention goes right in front of you. All the lights of the cars in front of you, the street lights, the city lights. But up in the skies, there's everything happening up there. And we never pay attention to it. You wouldn't believe the countless people that I talk to that have never even seen a sunset. It's unbelievable. They don't pay attention to what's going on in front of them. They just complain about the bright light that's blinding them as they're trying to drive home. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go and explain to you what's going on in front of you in that night sky. What's going on in the night skies when we're not paying attention to it? There's so much happening. There's the moon. There's the clouds. And there's stars. Billions of stars. Uncountable stars. So when we go and take a look at the sky, we need to just turn on our night vision and take a look up. Get ourselves out away from all the light pollution from the cities. Get ourselves way out, like 50 miles, 100 miles away from cities, and take a look up. It is breathtaking. Now let's talk about doing some nighttime photography. There's all different things that we need to do in nighttime photography, and everything is different. Like the settings that you use for shooting the moon and shooting the stars are totally different. And shooting for landscape is totally different. So we're going to take them apart and we're going to do them one by one. Alright, let's start with shooting the moon. Alright, to shoot the moon, I normally set my ISO at 100 or 200. I don't go up very much higher than that. Then you start losing detail and everything like that on your on the moon. So you need a high millimeter lens to begin with. 300 millimeter is okay, but you know, if you could go and use a 300 millimeter with a doubler or a 1.5 converter on it, that would help. But just to use like a 200 millimeter lens is not enough. So let's just say we're going to use a 300 millimeter with a doubler. That makes a 600 millimeter. Well, if you have a 1.5 conversion in your camera per se, that means you're not using a full frame camera in digital. Then you're going to be taking that 600 millimeter and you're going to be taking it 1.5 times that, which would be another 300 millimeter, which makes it 900 millimeter. So that's really reaching out. So we take and set our camera up to shoot the moon. We put the camera on a tripod. We focus the camera. And now the shutter speed is crucial because the moon is moving a lot faster than what people think. A lot faster than what you would think. If we went and took and focused on the moon and just turned around to our camera bag and got something out of the camera bag and turned right back to the camera, the moon would already be out of frame in your camera. So that's how fast the moon moves. So when you're shooting the moon, you don't want to shoot any slower than a 60th of a second. And I found that if you're shooting a 60th of a second and you're shooting 100 speed on the ISO, that you're going to get a really good image. Now if you're shooting 200 ISO, you can shoot at 125. It gives you a little extra step there, so that helps you out a little bit. Now there's another kind of night photography that I really don't touch on very much, but I've been very well known for it, and that's my storm chasing. I do a lot of storm chasing during the monsoon season out here in Arizona. We don't have anything as far as tornadoes. We've been known to have some, but I don't have very many images of tornadoes, but I do have an extensive collection of lightning images. So to get down to the nitty-gritty, the reason why I don't like bringing it up is because of the liability. I don't want people to think that it's something that you can just go out there and do. It is so unsafe to do it. It's so unbelievable. Lightning has been known to travel long distances. I've seen lightning come from a storm 15 miles away and strike behind me, over my head, and it just scared the bejeebies out of me. I want to have a good transportation to go and get out of situations or shelter. I've got myself into numerous times, and I'll go and I'll tell you a couple of stories about that. But one of the things that you want to make sure that you have is you want to make sure that you have AAA, because they've come and bailed me out of some really bad situations, and if I didn't have that, I really would have been up the creek without a paddle. But anyway, shooting lightning is not really that difficult. You know, it's just opening the shutter and leaving it open for a period of time, and with digital cameras you're limited to like 30 seconds, and you open up the shutter for 30 seconds and it closes, and you open it up for another 30 seconds and it closes. The one thing that you want to make sure that you have is you want to make sure that you have it in focus, because if it's not in focus, I don't care how many lightning bolts you have in the frame, it's going to be useless. So you want to make sure that you get everything in focus. And just like anything else, if you're planning on going out, I would go and go out earlier and focus it at the furthest point away from you, clouds, you know, way out in infinity, a mountain out there, whatever. Focus on it, and then you take some electrical tape and tape up the lens so that you can't change the focus, and turn your focus from auto to manual, so you don't have any chance of going messing that up, because you can really get some spectacular shots, and it'll be for nothing if it's out of focus. So the main thing that you need is you need a camera with a wide angle lens. A zoom lens works good. Sturdy tripod. A vehicle with the windows that can go up and down. That's really important, because I've had several times where I had to dive head first into my vehicle because there was lightning that was ready to strike right where I was standing. And I'll explain to you how you can tell. and had this big giant cloud in front of me, and it was throwing some really vivid lightning bolts down around Queen Creek. And so I set my camera up, and the lightning bolts coming out of the side of the cloud, bottom of the cloud, top of the cloud. It was just unbelievable. So I noticed that the lightning bolts were coming 30 seconds apart. So I would go and count out like 27, 20, 28 seconds, and I would take the lens cap off of the lens with the shutter speed set at bulb. And as soon as there was a lightning strike, I would go and cover it right back up. And then I'd start counting again. And then as I got close to 30 seconds, I would uncover it, and bang, there'd be a lightning strike, and I'd cover it back up. And I kept on doing that, and as it started getting darker and darker, the cloud was, you could see the formation of the cloud from when it was still a little daylight. And then as it got darker, that's what you saw, was you saw that the definition of the cloud, and then the lightning bolts coming out of the cloud, and it looked like it was coming out of the cloud, but actually it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. And you can go and take a look at this image, and it's just